is he part of a bigger plan or a bigger group or some sort of set of people with an agenda? Because he touches so many powerful people in the course of his
Yeah.
life that it starts to look that way, but it's hard to know.
Yeah, it's interesting because, yeah, it is remarkable how many people he knew,
Hmm.
how many people considered him a friend, and you start to wonder, how do these people define friendships? One of his MOs, I know more about him sort of early on, was academics. He would bring in academics, and basically I was reading in my Epstein file about a particular academic that he brought in for, um, you know, this fancy dinner at his residence in Manhattan. He had a big place there.
I believe it's the biggest place in Manhattan, the biggest
Right.
private residence.
Right. And when the guy came to dinner, he had a chalkboard in there. And after dinner, the guy spent 2 hours on the chalkboard talking about his academic theories. And I think it was a physicist or something, going on and on and on and on and on. So he gave him a lecture. And then the guy said, then Epstein wrote me a check for $50,000 for my research. So I wonder, did he stroke the narcissism of these academics? Come in and tell me about your theory that you are the world expert on and you know all about, and throw all your knowledge at me because it's so impressive. And here, I'll even write you a check for it. So was he the master of sort of, stroking the narcissism of some of these very important and very wealthy people that he interacted with that considered him a friend?
What do you think? Was he?
Well, the other part too is you can sort of stereotype, do we know that celebrities and politicians and wealthy people, are they more likely to have some level of narcissism? Probably, because it helped make them successful. And then once they become successful or they become famous, I don't think many people would argue that when people become famous, they may have a tendency to become a little bit more narcissistic. So it's like a narcissism fest, right? At one of his gatherings, right? I mean, and was he good at, stoking that narcissism for these people that he interacted with and possibly manipulated?
So we kind of have a sense of his psychology. He's stroking people. He starts with the academics. And then where is he going from there in terms of this broader network?
Well, politicians. Bill Clinton was one of the earliest ones, from what I understand, that he interacted with. And Epstein had a plane, and I think they put together some kind of trip where they went to Africa. Clinton had some things to do in Africa, so Epstein flew him around on his plane. So that was, and it was interesting when I was, reading about how this one academic who gave the 2-hour lecture after dinner, and Epstein wrote him a check. He said, "Hey, do you want to meet Bill Clinton?" And then the three of them met. Oh, did it move on from academics who maybe liked Bill Clinton, and then did it move into other politicians? And I don't, again, I don't sit around with all the stuff out on the Epstein and consume it. But just I had a lot of information to understand how those things developed early on and where they went from there and how it moved into other, famous people. I don't know how that all played out, but I just saw the earlier developments in that whole, I would say, network that he developed.
So the academics, then the politicians, and then are we on to celebrities?
That's what it sounds like to me. The stuff that I went through working on the documentary, there really wasn't a lot on the celebrities that he interacted with. Very little on that. A little bit on Trump, just more about he and Trump, according to the information that I had, were together quite a bit, and particularly in New York. And then there was a lawsuit against Epstein and Trump way before all the headlines, where a person was accusing them that both of them, sexually assaulted her, and then that lawsuit went away early on. Again, we're talking 2008, 9, around that time.
To go even deeper on these ideas, you can watch my full episode using the link in the description or the box on the screen.